this means it's not always, but in most cases, or most gas metal arc welding processes applications uses direct current reverse polarity, and often referred to as direct current electropositive or direct current electropositive abbreviation, or with the name shortly we can say DC electropositive. So electricity, in this case, electricity flows from the welder to the workpiece. From the welder to the workpiece. So the electrons flow from the welder to the workpiece and to the welding gun, through the work cable and back to the welders. In this case, why we select these types of straight polarity, or why we use the polarity, is there are different advantages. The positive sign has the positive pole has always high heat. So in different cases, we need direct current electropositive, and some cases we need the direct current electronegative. So here, as we already discussed, in most cases we use, or the most gas metal arc welding uses the direct current reverse polarity or direct current electropositive. So the direct current electropositive yields the greatest penetration because of the high heat is on the electrode. So it yields the greater penetrations when you are using the direct current electropositive, and also stable arc. It generates stable arc, and also high quality welding bits with a little sputtering by its behavior. The gas metal arc welding produces a little sputters on the surface of the weld or the surface of the base metal during welding process, and also it has a high welding quality. So in this equipment, there are the parts or all equipment or complete electric circuit of gas metal arc welding. Here, this is a cylinder. The cylinder contains the gases, shielding gas. In this case, we can have the inert gas or active gas. If the gas in this cylinder is nitrogen, if it contains the inert gas, we call it the MIG welding process, inert gas welding process. If the active gas or carbon dioxide, but here we have argon, helium for inert gas, and also carbon dioxide is the only active gas used for shielding the welding areas. So here there is a power source which uses the electricity. Always the power source the main power is from the electric, and so there is the machine, this welding machine, we call it AC/DC power sources. And also there are different cables. Here there is a welding power cable that will be from the from the welding machine to the welding area. The continuous flow of the current is through the power cable. And also the gas hose, we call it gas supply. The gas supply and the way the gas is supplied to the welding welding area. So there is the electrode liner or the electrode cable also, and also the shielding gas cable. So this is the complete equipment. And also in some cases there is the external, the electrode is in the side of the welding machine or the internal of the welding machine. So there is the external wire feeder in some cases, and also wire feeder unit is a part of the equipment of this gas metal arc welding. So the gas metal arc welding electrode, another equipment is the electrode. Electrode is one electrode, the consumable electrode or continually fed types of the electrode. And this electrode is used as a consumable material, used as a filler material. So we call this a gas metal arc welding electrode, and the filler metal is a continuously fed wire through the welding gun. Because of the gas metal arc welding can be weld very thin metals. It can weld very thin metals when compared with shielded shielded metal arc welding process. This is it has an advantage with the by it can weld thin metals. The selection of the electrode diameter are much smaller than the those used in other arc welding process. So we can use the smallest diameter. This means there are the range of the diameter. Maybe we can use 0.8, 0.6, 1, 1.2 and above. So there are the standard diameters of the electrode. A wire feeder regulators, there are also the part we call the wire feeder regulators, the wire feeder that regulate the speed at which electrode travels through the welding gun. So that is the welding line, welding liner, and also the welding gun. There is this, we can adjust the speed of the wire through the welding gun by using, we can control by using the wire feeder. So there is equipment we call the wire feeder. The wire feeder can there be coiled or spool. Coiled or spool be welded inside the welder or side set by side the welding machine. So this is the it's the part, or we call it is the equipment. Wire feeder is another equipment. The arc and the welding paddle are protected by shielding gas. Because of this, we call the shielding gas is another equipment of the parts of the gas metal arc welding. It's supplied by the external gas cylinder. There is a figure that shows the cylinder. So the cylinder pressure, the pressure gauge, there is another equipment we call the pressure gauge. Pressure gauge is also, or we call this is the regulator. Pressure gauge or regulator. That's maybe there are two parts in the pressure gauge that indicate the amount of gas pressure present in the cylinder, and also the amount of pressure that go to the welding area. So we call the pressure, or the pressure gauge is the gauge that shows or that indicates the amount of gas in the cylinder. And also there are the flow meter, which is attached to the regulator that controls the amount of shielding gas pressure that continuously flow to the welding area to protect the welding area. Don't forget that during adjusting the flow meter, it must be depending on the diameter of the electrode. When we are using the electrode diameter 1 millimeter diameter, it must be equal to the diameter of the electrode times the 10 times 10. This means 10 bar is allowed to shield the welding area, so it must be adjusted on the flow meter. So just with any process, a work clamp is another equipment that is to make the complete circuit. There is the work clamp. This means it is crucial for the electric safety. Sometimes you call this as ground cable or the ground clamp or hose clamp, as used for what? For the electric safety, even for creating the full circuit of the welding process. So here there is a flow meter. This is a flow meter. So there is a designations here, or there is a graduations here. You can adjust the depending on this. So this is to control the flow of the gases through the this hose, gas hose. And so there is also the pressure here, the pressure gauge here. This means this pressure gauge is to indicate the amount of gases in the cylinder, the amount of gases in the cylinder. So these are the equipment used in the gas metal arc welding process. Sorry. And so the another equipment is what? Gun, welding gun, gas metal arc welding gun. So this is a part of the welding gas metal arc welding. So gas metal arc welding gun is shown in the figure 1 is related to the according to the duty cycle. So you know the duty cycle for any welding machine, the parts of the welding machines, even whether it's gas metal arc welding or shielded metal arc welding or gas tungsten arc welding. So the equipment must be depending on the duty cycles. So there is the rating of the duty cycles: high duty cycle, medium duty cycle, low duty cycle. It's it indicated by the percent. So this means that the welding gun perform work for only certain amounts of time before it cools down. So this comparison is always within the 10 minutes. Within the 10 minutes. So there are the 70% duty cycle. There is 70% duty cycle machines. This indicated by the percent. By the percent. So maybe 100 duty cycle, percent duty cycle, 70% duty cycle, 60% duty cycle. So it depends on the duty cycle of the machines. During buying, maybe separately we can buy the gas metal arc welding gun from the market as the spare part of the machine. So you must be up there. You must be check the duty cycle of the welding machine. It must be matched with the duty cycle of the welding machines. Here, the high amperage capacity guns can be cooled with the water cool, or by the way, there are the two types of the welding gun, high amperage and low amperage welding gun. So the high amperage welding gun is cooled by the water, and the low amperage is cooled by the gases, or we can say gas cooled welding gun. So this is welding gun is what? This the equipment. So there is the electrode liner. Electrode liner is another equipment of gas metal arc welding. Electrode liner supports the electrode and helps to guide it from the wire feeder to the contact tip. This means there is the wire feeder. We discussed already about the wire feeder. Wire feeder is feeding the wire to the welding area through the welding gun. And so there is the line called electrode liner that support the feeding of the electrode to the contact tip. So the welding gun here is the gun's contact tip. In the welding gun, there is a contact tip that conducts the electricity to the electrode. So the electrode is flow to the contact tip through the welding gun, and until it reaches the contact tip, there is no relation with the electricity, but the contact tip can directly conduct the electricity to the welding to the electrode to form the arc. So the contact tip are also directed the electrode to work is the work, and it's usually made from with the copper or copper alloy. The material of the contact tip is copper or copper alloy. We can buy the contact tip that's made from the copper or from the copper alloys. And another is the hole for the contact tip should be only 0.0052 to 0.01 inch larger than the wire electrodes, so that electricity can flow easily from the contact tip to the electrode. So this gap is to allow the conductivity, to allow the electric current to jump to the electrode. So this gap is it has two purposes: to easily flow the electrodes, and also to conduct the electricity. The contact tip must be attached snugly to the gun, because as it is heats up, it can expand and loose. So it must be snugly attached to the welding gun. So this is one equipment. So here the figures that shows the welding gun. So this is the welding gun. So this part is a nozzle, gas nozzle, and so this is totally, we call this is a welding gun. Here there is a trigger, that is, you can press this to start the arc, to start the welding. There is a contact tip, is this one. Contact tip is inserted in the gas diffuser. Then there is the insulator, the part we call insulator, and here there is the gas nozzle. So there is the electrode liner. This is the cable called electrode liner that supports the electrode to be flowed into the welding areas. So these are the equipment. The contact tip screws into the gas diffuser. It must be screwed to the gas diffuser. Also the gas nozzle, which is attached to the end of the gun over the contact tip, and a part of the electrode ensures that the electrode and arc are surrounded with an even amount of the shielding gas. So the more amperage, that might be gas welding gun. Then there is electrodes. The electrode, this means electrode is another parts of the equipment. It's the one equipment used as a filler material, or the filling materials. So along with the conducting electricity to the arc, gas metal arc welding wire electrodes also serve as the filler metal for the welding joints. It can create it used for create the arc, to create the heat, for the melting the base metal, and also it uses as the filler materials. So in the gas tungsten arc welding, you know that the external filler material is applied from the side, but here the electrode is consumable electrode. It's a consumable electrode, so it must be applied to the it must be transferred to the welding area. So gas metal arc welding electrodes are solid and do not contain the fluxes. So the fluxes, by the way, it is only in the shielded metal arc welding, and also we can use in the flux core arc welding, and also we can use in the submerged arc welding. But here in gas metal arc welding, there is no use of the fluxes. So the gas is shielding material here. However, gas metal arc welding electrode often contains the elements that provides certain properties to the welding joints. This means there are the properties we need. Maybe we need stiffness, stiffness and strength is the requirements of the welding. Because of this, and also to compensate some properties, there are some elements to be added in the welding, in the electrode. Also, shielding is mostly done with external gas. As we know, shielding is performed by the external gases. Maybe it is inert gas or active gas. Now, elements like magnesium, silicon are often added to the gas metal arc welding electrode to act as the deoxidizer. So we need here the elements called what? Magnesium, manganese and silicon. Manganese and silicon are added to the electrode during manufacturing the solid wire electrode for gas metal arc welding as a deoxidizer. And also there is the manganese also increases the strength. For the strength and toughness is the major property of welding we need. So it increases. Manganese increases the strength of the weld, and molybdenum and nickel are sometimes added to lower wires. They increase the weld's strength and hardness without decreasing ductility. Ductility is the important property, one important property of the welding. So the welding property we need is, one is ductility, the another is strength, the third property is toughness. So the nickel also often corrosion resistance. The nickel is added to the electrode for increasing the corrosion resistance. So these are the elements we need to add to the electrodes. Some of these elements create a welded joint that is stronger than the base metal. Well, this is why we need the strength of the welding. The strength of the welding is always maybe extend or the same with base metal, the strength of the base metals. Most gas metal arc welding electrodes have copper coating, like those picture in the figure 2, shown in the figure 2. So why they are copper coating? This protects their electrodes from outside elements, from the reaction of outside elements, and helps to conduct electricity from the contact tip to the electrode and generates less friction between the contact tip and electrode. Because of this, we add it must be copper coating. So here there's the table that shows the composition of the electrode. There is the carbon composition, manganese composition, molybdenum, nickel, and silicon. Why we add carbon in the electrode? It increases the strength. The carbon increases the strength. The manganese deoxidizer increases the strength, and molybdenum increases hardness and strength without reducing its ductility, and nickel improves hardness, strength, toughness, corrosion resistance. And also the nickel, the silicon is a deoxidizer and increases puddle fluidity. So this is the electrode property, why we add electrode elements, different elements to the electrode. As all electrodes, gas metal arc welding electrodes are classified according to the American Welding Society standards. So we can classify the electrodes. There are different types of the electrode because of depending on their compositions and different properties. as illustrated in the figure. The electrode's label gives detailed information about the electrode. Labeling the electrode is very important, or designating the electrode as a welding society, American Welding Society. It's important to know their designations. It indicates the types of the electrode. This means the composition, its tensile strength, and the amount of deoxidizer present in the electrode is shown in the designation. As a result, the electrode's label determines which base metal suit to it best for the electrodes. So maybe it must be matched the base metal property and the electrode properties. The proper selection of an electrode for gas metal arc welding also depends on the joint design, and the specifications. There are WPS during welding. Always you must have WPS or welding procedure specification. Depending on that, there is a specification, welding joint design, and also shielding gas. So these are almost the criteria to select the best electrode. So the designation is very important here. So here there is the electrode designation here. This is electro gas metal arc welding electrodes, the coiled type, as we already know. This is the electrode, and so there is electrode designation. Yes, as you see from this, like in shielded metal arc welding. So here A indicate the electrode, they are indicate the rod, and the 70. This means it's in thousands. So 70,000 of the tensile strength, and this indicate the solid type electrode. This means it's not core type. And then there is the X. So this indicates the chemistry of the electrode. So this designation is also very important for selecting the best electrodes. So this figure shows the electrode designation. The another is the shielding gas. Shielding gas is we need to know the shielding gas properties or characteristics of shielding gas. So we have different shielding gases. As you know, there is carbon dioxide is active gas, and then there is the inert gas like helium, and we can use the helium gas, and also argon gas. There are three types of the shielding gas. Two types of shielding gas: active gas and inert gases. All gas metal arc welding process uses the shielding gas. The proper amounts of the shielding gas, the proper amount of gas must be continuously flow through the gas nozzle to protect the arc and prevent oxidation of the welding bit. This may be it can protect the tips of the electrode, the molten metal, and the welding zone from the air contamination. Shielding gas also helps with a bead formation and also stabilizing the arc. So generally we call the shielding gas is to protect the welding area from the air contamination. So there are different types of welding gas. So thank you for seeing the video. Thank you for today's presentation, and then don't forget to subscribe if this video is good for you.